This is part one of a two-part series with Thomas Allen. In this one, we're talking about forward-facing sonar and cellular cameras in the field.
Hey, I'm KJ, dedicated lifelong hunter here. If you got an interest in all things hunting, you're in the right spot. Whether chasing quail across the plains of Oklahoma or in pursuit of elk in the backcountry of British Columbia, you'll always find me on the hunt.
All right, everybody, welcome into another Gun Talk Hunt, brought to you by Ruger, Timney Triggers, Range Ready Studios, Silencer Central, Vortex, Savage, Franchi, and RCBS. Man, RCBS, man, I've been doing a crap ton of loading these days, shooting matches and stuff. But on the other line, and staring at your beautiful faces, is Mr. Thomas Allen. Man, dude, how you been? Long time no hear.
Yeah, it's been a while. I think we talked this spring, sometime around turkey season. But it's
the only time I hear from Thomas Allen is when he or his son or his daughter or his wife are killing stuff in the woods.
Well, we should do a little better. I mean, it doesn't have to be that long in between things, but yeah,
No.
We've been fishing a lot. I think we're probably about wrapped up with that. I might have a few more in fisherman segments to film this fall yet, but for the most part, I think we're down to just chasing fall time muskies, which is really more of a hunt if you want to get down to it.
No, that's not a hunt. When I went, they said fish of a 1 in 10,000 cast.
Yeah, that's about right.
I kid you not. I went out one day and I caught 5 of them.
Yeah, it doesn't always work like that, Kevin. You must have had a pretty good guide.
Guide, I was hand fishing.
Well, okay, it sounds like there's more to this story that make me doubt your tenacity as muskie.
No, I had a tremendous guide. Oh,
well, you should come up here. I mean, you probably need a break from that South Louisiana heat. I mean, the fishing's just starting to get good. We've got water temps in the mid to low 50s, and the trees are in full color. It's my favorite time of year. It is wonderful, but it goes too quick.
Don't get me started, man, because like what's going to happen for you, since you're bragging it up now, you're going to get a massive cold front really quickly, and then everything's going to be shut off, and then you're going to be fishing in ice houses. That's what's going to happen.
Well, that's coming. That's inevitable. But truth be told, we had that cold front. We're coming out of it now. It's actually going to be in the 70s on Friday, which kind of sucks. When you get that water temperature to drop into a certain level, the lakes turn over, and then the fish recover from that and they go on a binge. And so we're right on that edge where turnover is ending. Most of the lakes have turned or are just about done turning, and now it's going to get really good. So sometimes it's hard to pick between deer hunting and muskie fishing. But
man, I just don't. I mean, I know you're a big time muskie fisherman, but man, I just cannot. I don't think I could put down the bow or gun and go pick up a rod and go run figure eights.
You know, you need to come do this. Like, I know we've talked about this, and we probably should put this on our list, because here's the thing: you can just get here and it's super inexpensive. I know we've talked about like these hunts we want to do all the time, and we're like once every 2 or 3 years. We want to up that a little bit. You come up here for a week of muskie fishing. I'll come down there. We'll go to Venice. I don't see what the problem is.
There is no problem with that. I'm good with that. I'll do that. Yeah, we can for sure do that.
You know, just so that people understand something, when we're talking muskie fishing, it's pretty good throughout the season. And generally in the north, it starts in June, right? First weekend in June. And you get to fall and it's magical. It's cold. Yeah. A lot of times we're using big suckers, like anything from a 14 to 20-inch sucker. So a 2 or 3 pound fish. And they'll chase baits. It's a magical time of the year if you can handle the cold. And I know that your skinny ass could probably deal with it if you put on a couple extra layers.
I would have to put. I wouldn't have to put on as many layers anymore.
Well,
like I feel like I'm already packing.
I keep a built-in layer of insulation rolling. So.
That's what I'm working towards. That's what I'm doing.
You'll get there.
No, last time. So it's funny because the last time I did hear from you, you had said, and I got to pull this message up because it was actually really funny.
Oh, buddy.
Oh, my gosh. So you were about to go on a rant. So you said, here's your podcast topic. He says, linking the debate between cell cams and forward-facing sonar and how it's made, I can't read the next word, out of the boomers.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, I did say that.
So you've said that.
Yeah.
How do you want to approach this?
All right, well, let's give a quick background. I'll do my best to keep it short of the raging forward-facing sonar debate in the fishing world. So, as technology advances, we are going to continue to reach new levels that we previously thought were unattainable. I think that's
Yes.
that's an equalization, right? That's a fact. No one's going to argue that. That's with everything, cell phones and computers and whatever. So, in fishing, forward-facing sonar as of late has been a hot topic because it's more or less paved a quicker route or shortened the learning curve for younger anglers. And let me preface this by saying this is the debate. I can give you some honest answers, and Kevin, if I'm anything, I'm very
Always
willing to
honest.
share my opinion. In fact, I can't hide it sometimes. So the debate has been from the older generation that they're grumpy with the younger generation because they're beating them. And they're blaming the forward-facing sonar on creating an easier path into the upper echelon of professional fishing. And as a result, that's kind of trickled down into the regional and even community level tournaments where here in Brainerd, Minnesota, we have got tournament leagues that are banning forward-facing sonar because of what they're seeing at the top levels. And I say this a little tongue in cheek. So if any of my fishing friends are listening and you're like, he's talking about me, I'm not. I'm talking in general about the sport and about what's going on. And
Yeah.
what's happening inside the sport, Kevin, is there are a lot of older anglers that are either unwilling or unable to adapt with the technology. And that happens. I think you and I are going to reach a point where we're tired of updating our phones, where we're tired of trying to keep up on technology. We might just quit keeping up on technology. So I think it's a natural progression. But as a result, relevancy is starting to wane, and some of these anglers are nearing the end of their careers, and they're blaming the technology. But the funny side of this, Kevin, is myself, you in your fishing industry days, we all work collectively to innovate and push new products on the market that absolutely were created to shorten that learning curve.
Yeah.
And now that that's caught up with everybody, there's some grumpy people out there, and
Well,
I'm sick of it.
dude, I see it,
stupid
and I
argument.
see the side that you're on, and I'm in total agreement. Like, there's a time when we are going to be phased out, and we're going to be
Yeah,
the old guys there going like all these youngsters.
yeah.
And I saw this coming years ago.
I saw it coming too.
Years,
Yeah.
years ago, because what's happening is kids, our kids, my kids, your kids, like they are all growing up in a technology driven world where it's you have to adapt to it or you are going to die.
Adapt or die.
Like,
I say that all the time.
like that's what it is. And you have to call a spade because you sit here and you look at these young kids dominating some of these tournaments. They've grown up with this technology. They've adapted their lives, and their lives is looking at a screen. And you cannot hold it against them for utilizing the tools that are going to make them successful.
That we paved the way for, myself and the generation older than me. We
Yes.
all work collectively in the media, in the professional fishing scene to catch fish easier.
Yes.
And the thing that one of the arguments that really bothers me is I hate watching people watch screens and it's all forward facing sonar's fault. Correction. There were complaints 10, 12 years ago when Edwin Evers was watching his jig on his 2D Lowrance sonar, and what was he doing there? And
Yeah, it was the
Minnesota
same thing.
it's the same thing. Minnesota tried to ban flashers back in the day. Flashers, right?
Really?
Yeah. And I think that we're going to see more of this. We're going to see more of this technology banned because the loudest group is the largest group who can't keep up with it.
Yeah.
And that's a strong word. And I say this like seriously with love. Okay. The technology is not ruining the sport whatsoever. In fact, until you've gone out and used it, maybe mastered it. Okay. I don't feel like you should have an opinion on it. If you don't like it, you don't have to put it on your boat. But if you're going to impress upon your social media followers, your friends, your family, whatever, that this technology is bad without having any real experience, and I don't mean just like being able to turn it on and look at it, I mean being able to make it work.
Yeah.
If you can't do that, you got nothing to say.
Yep. Well, what you are seeing in the shooting community too, is a lot of the same. I just got off shooting a match And what some of these guys are doing with, I mean, and a Kestrel is not a new tool, but for a guy like me that grew up with Kentucky windage, a Kestrel is like waving a magic wand over your gun and saying, okay, hit the target, bam, and you'll hit the target.
Mhm.
It's just like that, but they're utilizing the tools that they're just adapting to the tools that were provided. Do you not think that if forward-facing sonar came out when Rick Clunn was in his heyday, or KVD, or I can
Well,
any of those
dude, they
guys?
hated KVD when he came around. He was the young punk kid that was beating everybody with a crankbait, and they said a
Exactly.
crankbait is no way to catch a bass.
Yeah. And so you start looking at it, you think if they had forward-facing sonar back then, I mean, when Ray Scott was starting out, do you not think that they would have all been like, "Oh, heck yeah, this is the wave of the future"?
2 points I want to make. First of all, this summer I had a great time learning forward facing sonar. Tommy and I we took a day a week and went out with the spinning poles and the little jig minnows and just
Yeah.
got to know the technology. And it paid off for us a little bit. But most of the time, we were using it to position ourselves on structure. It wasn't. The
Yeah.
misconception is that you turn it on and fish jump in your boat. It's just not the case.
No.
It takes practice. It takes rigging correctly. It takes understanding what you're looking at. There's a lot of factors that go into that. Actually, another word for that is work that you
Yeah.
have to put in to make it work and make it make sense. Well,
Yeah.
I'll give you one example, and I know we're supposed to be talking shooting and hunting, but this is kind of a
Well,
fun.
this is I'm gonna go ahead and say this, like for all the guys that are like, get off the fishing talk. This
Yeah,
all
you
plays
know.
a role in hunting too, because we're going to talk about the cell camera, the cell cams and the trail
Mhm.
cams that will bleed right into this. So don't worry, we're getting to that.
I'm laying out the foundation, as
Yeah.
they say.
The groundation.
It's a new word. So
Yeah.
I knew we were going to have a tournament this year. I fished a little side note is this is the first year since I've had kids that I was able to go fish by myself and go do a tournament series just for me. When I brought it up to my wife, she's like, absolutely go do it. It's all close to home.
Yeah.
I think 5 derbies a year. So it wasn't a huge commitment, but I wanted to take it serious. So I went out and practiced on a bunch of these lakes and spent a lot of time and really that combined with the effort we'd put in to learn the technology, I put it to work. We went to a particular lake in northern Minnesota, and Kevin, I caught like 2 ounces shy of 21 pounds of smallmouth bass. One of the best days I've ever had on the water, and still got 7th place, if that tells you anything about how good the fishing was.
Oh,
But
geez.
that entire tournament was a result, and I was able to remain competitive, if you consider 7th competitive, by using forward-facing sonar. At the end of that tournament, a bunch of those guys complained that they got beat by dudes using forward-facing sonar. What, adapt or die?
Yep.
Get on board with it. So that point is you put in the work. They don't just jump in your boat. The other thing that's going to happen is, and the hunting industry is facing it now with cell cameras, is you're going to start hearing the trickle down complaints that the loudest group is going to catch the ear of a state senator or a lake association or public land wildlife biologist or whatever, and they're going to start saying, you know what, I think I agree with that, even though I'm incapable of turning on my cell phone. My opinion is cell cameras are a bad thing and they provide an unfair advantage. And there are a couple states already, and it's not new, that have banned the use of cell cameras. I don't know if it's indefinitely or only on state ground, but
I think it's a statewide ban.
I think so.
Which to me makes absolutely zero sense.
I'd be an outlaw if I lived there because I'm not
get there. We will get there.
Yeah. Anyway, it just we've gotten to a point, and I guess there was one last thing I wanted to say there, and this kind of is a little bit of a rebuttal to the young kids doing so well. This whole time we've been innovating and promoting and talking about and educating the use of all this electronics. There's also been high school bass fishing. There has been college bass fishing. Kevin, could you imagine the grades improvement that I might have had if there was high school fishing?
Improvement? I would have been horrible. That would have been way worse for me.
Well, you had to have a GPA to participate.
There is absolutely zero way I would have made the grades. All right, Thomas Allen has frozen. He looks magnificent.
Huh?
All right, you froze. Pick it up.
How about now?
Yeah, there you good. You're good now.
Sorry.
You're good.
there's a thing that happens where you kind of have to pay your dues, and I think that that's respectable from the older generations. But the solution, I think, to an extent, would be if the younger generation were to tip their hat more to the older generations for the groundwork that they set out that they're walking on. And I think
Yeah.
that's really where the headache comes from.
I I don't, man, I kind of disagree with you. I don't think that's where the headache comes from. I think it's just these guys who are used to owning this space, and they said they're pissing on this post saying, well, this was my spot. Now, why are you doing so good? And they're unwilling to accept change. That's
Mhm.
on them. That's not like, man, for those young kids out there that are on these bass teams, or man, I wish they had hunting teams. Now that would
Yeah.
be awesome.
Well, that would be
Anyway,
a can of worms we don't want to open, I think.
yeah, like coyote hunting teams. Like, let's do that.
Squirrel
Um,
hunting teams. You ever done a
yeah,
squirrel derby?
yeah. But
That's a good
anyway, it's
time.
like go out and get it. If that's
Yeah.
what you want to do with your life, and you believe you can make a living off of becoming a bass angler or a professional fisherman, go for it. And if you take some old guy's spot who's too aggravated, or uh,
Frail.
just, yeah, to change and to utilize the technology that's out there, I'm sorry. It's just not your time.
It's an unforgiving sport. And it's the trail to the classic is littered with broken hearts. And you and I both know
Yeah.
a lot of the stories.
Oh, yeah.
I personally, I do not dislike watching people catch big bass while looking at their screen. I enjoy that.
Yeah.
And based on numbers that I've been privy to, so does the bulk of the viewership. So we could go down this road and talk in depth for hours, and I've tried. And I think we could, but the bottom line is technology's alienating to an extent where you're right. You have I don't remember what term you used, but where you have the windage and everything built into your scope.
Oh, the
And
Kestrel. Yeah.
yeah. And I have I think it's a Burris, what's that
Eliminator.
scope? Eliminator 3.
Yeah.
And I really like it, Kevin.
Dude.
But here's the comparison I'll make. That scope and forward-facing sonar have not in any way, shape, or form diminished the experience for me.
No, it's enhanced it, if anything. So this weekend is opener of youth. It's opener of youth weekend in Oklahoma. Now, my oldest son, I went, you know what? I went the opposite way. I said, you know what? You need to embrace the technology. And I got him a Burris Eliminator scope. And, or no, I got him, no, the Veracity PH. It's got the heads up display. And so now what you're talking about is a young kid who sees the technology side of hunting, and now all of a sudden, like, he's kind of hooked.
He's more
sitting there
interested.
looking. He's going, holy crap, this is actually really cool. Wait, so I turn this dial and it'll change the numbers in my scope, and all I got to do is point. Yes, that's all you have to do. It's that easy.
There's a point where, now that said, I still think if you don't have a quality foundation underneath the technology, underneath your skill, if you don't understand how to make a bass eat, or you don't know how to find whitetails, none of it matters. So you do need to have a foundation. And
You're right.
I know you as a father, you're instilling those foundational values in your kids for hunting. I did the same with mine, and fishing the same. Tommy and I learned how to fish together without forward-facing sonar.
Yeah.
Began to factor it in. And instead of looking at that as the only thing we have to use to succeed, it's now a tool in our satchel, or another arrow in the quiver, if you will. And same with cell cameras, same with the electronic scopes. It doesn't, if you make a problem out of it, then don't use it. Like, that's a beautiful thing about America is don't use it if you don't want it, and you can still be successful without it. It's just when you start getting other people's ideals based on their lack of willingness to adapt, and that's forced upon you, that's where I have a problem.
Yeah, I agree. All right.
Not to rant and rave.
Yeah. Well, we're going to jump back into this conversation on more of the hunting side right after a word from these wonderful sponsors. Unmatched precision with the Ruger American Gen 2. In the heart of the wilderness, precision matters. Ruger introduces the American Gen 2 rifle. Designed for hunters who demand excellence, the Ruger American Gen 2 offers enhanced accuracy, smooth bolt action, and durable design. It's the perfect companion for any hunting expedition, providing reliable performance every time you pull the trigger.
Trust the Ruger American Gen 2 to deliver when it counts. Visit Ruger.com to learn more and find your next hunting rifle. What a hit. When it comes to hunting, your trigger is everything. Timney Triggers introduces the Remington 700 Hit Trigger, designed for those serious shooters. The Remington 700 Hit Trigger offers adjustable pull weight, ensuring you get the perfect customized feel you deserve. It's built for precision and reliability, so you can trust your every shot. Timney Triggers has many triggers for hunting for a bunch of different rifles out there. Discover the Remington 700 Hit and transform your hunting experience. Visit TimneyTriggers.com to explore all they got. It's time to prepare for the shot of a lifetime. Whether you're a seasoned hunter or new to the sport, preparation is key. I preach it all the time. At Range Ready Studios, we offer the training you need to make that shot of a lifetime. Chris Serino is on staff, and he has a host of instructors on hand to provide personalized trainings in state-of-the-art facilities and practical exercises that build your confidence and skills. From precision marksmanship to quick target acquisition, we've got you covered. Don't leave your success to chance. Visit RangeReadyStudios.com to learn more. We're talking Razor HD scopes. When you're in the field, clarity and precision are everything. That's what hunters look for, and that's why they trust Vortex Optics and their Razor HD line of scopes. The Razor HD scopes offer superior light transmission, stunning resolution, and unmatched durability. With these scopes, every shot is a confident shot. And you know what? They do have an impeccable lifetime guarantee, so you can trust that your investment is protected for life. Elevate your hunting experience with Razor HD scopes. Visit VortexOptics.com to learn more. Vortex Optics, because every detail counts. In the backcountry, every ounce counts. When the hunt takes you to the extremes, the Savage Ultralight Elite is built to go the distance. Featuring a carbon fiber wrapped barrel and an MDT HNT 26 stock for perfect balance. The Ultralight Elite is engineered for hunters who demand performance at the highest elevations. Precision, power, all in a rifle weighing under 6 pounds. The Savage Ultralight Elite, designed for the backcountry, built for the hunt. When precision meets innovation, you get the Franchi Momentum, a rifle built for those who demand more from their hunt. Designed for ultimate comfort with its ergonomic stock, precision barrel, and crisp trigger pull, the Franchi Momentum gives you the confidence to take that perfect shot. Hunt with momentum, the Franchi Momentum, a new force and precision. Find yours at FranchiUSA.com.
CZUSA.com is where you're going to find the CZ600 series rifles. They've got an American version, Alpha version, the Lux, the Range, and the Trail. Now, let's look a little bit more into the Trail, because the Trail is like that lightweight, that just, it just screams backcountry rifle. But it is a new standard in the CZ600. It's got features like AR magazine compatibility and 223 Remington, and uses CZ Bren 2 magazines in 7.62 by 39. In addition to a common magazine trend, the Trail delivers ambidextrous mag release and safety levers that will feel familiar to those who use the AR platform. And we all know that is one of the key guns out there that everybody uses and everybody knows. So why not match what you're using in the field to what you're already familiar with? Check out the CZ600 series Trail at CZUSA.com. All right, you know what I love about traveling on the road is being able to take all my firearms with me. And if you're going to do that and you're going to go state to state to start hunting, you need something to keep them secure. I've got a topper on my truck, so, I can leave that open, but there's just a pane of glass covering that. So what I like to do is a SnapSafe Trunk Safe 2. This is a large storage capacity for tools, firearms, equipment, documents, and much, much more that you can lock away easy. You can tie it down, you can lock it in place, and it won't leave your vehicle. So if you're looking for a way to keep your firearms safe on the road, check out SnapSafe.com.
All right, we're back with Thomas Allen of In Fisherman. He writes for Game and Fish. He kind of does a little bit of everything. And we're getting into this whole technology and hunting and how we've adapted and how just old guys just aren't willing to adapt. And I hate to say it because we have a lot of listeners out there that rely on archaic, practices to do their hunting. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Like to a certain extent, sometimes I am that guy because we go back to the burst limit, veracity pH that I put on my son's gun. So there's a level of me that wants to go, I don't trust it because it's electronic. But then there's the I guess I would say I'm middle aged, the middle of the road guy in me that says, but that's really cool. Like it's really cool that they're offering this, and to see it from a kid's perspective, it's really cool because he's starting to see the marriage between technology, like what he likes to do in his off time and what he lives day to day. And so we go out and we test it. And I think that's what you're talking about with the forward facing sonars, that like you got to go out and actually work it. Like you can't just say you're picking up a rod and you're doing it, or you can't just put a cartridge in and just turn the dial and automatically know it's there. There's a certain amount of learning curve that goes with this technology. And let's go the hunting side. Is that the best way to do it? Because coming from a guy who runs, I don't know, what are you up to now? 80 plus trail cameras a year?
Oh, no, I don't want to publicly say in fear of self-incriminating, but I've got 50 in the works. Yes.
You have ran a lot of different trail cameras over the years. You've ran cellular, you've run cards, you've run everything. You probably had one with film in it.
Dude, this goes a long ways back. If you guys can find this and add it in and post, it'd be great. But the Wildlife Eye was I don't know who made it, but the Drury's promoted it back in the day where you could
I do remember that.
You remember the cameras, like the little handy cam deals, and they'd flip open like this, and you could set it down and plug it in, and it would go off. Now, I used that for 2 years until they discovered that they could run video as an option on these other cell cameras or other trail cameras. So, yeah, I was doing it that way back in the day. And that box was like this.
Oh, it's huge. And now where we're at, they're just so small. They're really cute. They're good to have around.
I mean, they're this big.
But there's a learning curve with all this stuff. And like some guys are just unwilling to learn. And I get it. Like there's stuff like that I don't want to learn, but I know I have to. Like,
well, I've got news for you, Kevin. I've got news for you. We are middle-aged.
I know. Like I hate to say it, man. We used to be the young kids in the industry.
I know we were at one time, but I do think there comes a point, and I feel like I've gotten there to a certain extent with some technology where I'm like, oh, gosh, now I got to learn a new iOS, or I got to learn a new, something or other. And it does get stressful, but I've always committed, and I remind myself this on the regular, that I need to physically commit to staying up with things, to stay relevant in the space. And I want to provide a perspective that comes from both schools. I want to be able to talk about how it used to be, how I had to triangulate, the pontoon boat lift and the weeping willow over here with the point here. I had to do that. And so
but then you go, oh no, the water level's down 2 feet. So
well, but I don't overlook the fact that those that came before me paved the way. And I think
absolutely.
Personally, if you can accept that somebody helped you get there, it's going to make you more productive. But again, what I have a hard time with is when entities or people are determining for me how I can participate. I could give a rip what the government says about that, write that one down. But the problem is that was implemented by people that were jealous of their neighbor killing big elk or big mule deer. It's spawned, all of this, Kevin, is spawned in jealousy. And so my advice is watch your own bobber.
Watch your own bobber. That needs to be on a shirt or something, like a hat or a bumper sticker or something like that. Watch your own bobber. I like that. Well, man, like I have a question. Do you ever miss the days when you used to go out and just fish or hunt? With no technology. With no technology.
No, I don't. Do I miss a simpler time as a culture? Yes. Um, one of the things and one of the things that was warned to me before I took the step to becoming an outdoor communicator and a media guy and all this stuff was, it might ruin your passion. Well, I can see how that would happen. And if you
Yeah.
if you and I were to be an open book and talk about the negatives to our jobs, it may sound like we're complaining, but it comes with baggage. It comes with complications.
Oh,
And it's a job at the end of the day to an extent, but I do love what I do.
yeah.
That comment about making your job your career or making your passion your career, it's enhanced my passion for the outdoors. It's enhanced my passion to share the outdoors and those experiences and stories with people. I guess it's easy to say I miss the days of blindly sitting in a tree stand hoping a deer will show up, and when one does, you don't know him. You like. There was a certain element of fun to that, but I'm into the chess match. I really like knowing that deer are on their feet. And literally, as we speak, I've been getting trail camera photos off the hook because today, for some reason in Minnesota, I got a lot of daytime movement.
Ooh.
So
What's
I
changed?
do.
Barometric pressure.
Maybe
That's what it is.
It's gonna be 75 tomorrow. Maybe they're on their feet to enjoy the cooler weather. But all that to say, to be completely honest with you, I wouldn't trade those days.
Yeah.
I like what we have now. I like being able to watch deer on a cell camera and make a decision, because no matter what technology you have in front of you, forward facing sonar, electronic scopes, cell cameras, rangefinders on bows, like, it doesn't matter. In the heat of the moment, you still have to perform. And all those plans that you made leading up to that moment had to be laid correctly based on the most recent information. Naturally, as technology evolves, you're going to have some more poachers, if you will. We just got the news yesterday. I think this kid in Ohio pled guilty to 14 counts on that deer he poached that was like Ohio's largest deer. I mean, it's a sad story. Had he not had trail cameras or cell cameras, that may not have happened. So you can point and blame, but I want to say, hey, poor ethics. Dad didn't whip him enough growing up. Me and my kid know better than to make that kind of decision.
Oh yeah.
So,
It ain't worth it.
here's the ethical balance. Here's the ethical balance. The forward-facing sonar argument often hinges on or leans on fish populations and how too much fishing pressure is going to decimate the fisheries. I don't believe that. I think that's on the angler. I think the DNR needs to evaluate catch rates, produce more creel survey results to determine if crappies and bluegills and bass and whatever, if the limits need to be strengthened to maintain the health of the fishery. Okay. Yeah. If you have a limit of one deer or one buck or whatever your limit is, who gives a rip if you saw it on a cell camera? You're still entitled to your limit. You still paid for your license like the next guy.
Yep.
So the efficacy in my mind comes down to making good choices within the laws that you're presented with. Okay. Baiting, for example, if it's illegal in Iowa, don't bait in Iowa. If you're legal to bait in Saskatchewan, hunt over bait in Saskatchewan. Is it wrong? Not
no, but you're still allotted your limit, and that's what it is. Your limit is your limit. But there are scofflaws out there that absolutely do not adhere to those, and those are the ones that give everybody a bad name. Like, it's just, I mean, and that's what you hear the loudest. Or, well, this guy did it, and so how many other people did we not catch?
So I really think the industry is divided a lot, in very similar ways to the way we are culturally with politics. And I do know that there, most of the hunting and fishing industry strongly leans to the right, with some exceptions therein, and whatever, that's fine. But it's ultimately you're having procedures and policies being implemented by the have-nots, if you will. They don't want to learn the technology. They don't like the technology. And like I said before, a lot of it stemmed out of jealousy. And I guess I don't want somebody over top of me or someone that can force feed agendas down my throat telling me that I can or cannot use a piece of technology that is just simply a tool, that it complements my approach. If you don't like it, Kevin, if you don't want to use forward-facing sonar, don't put it on your boat.
Yeah.
If you don't want to use a cell camera, don't hang them up. If you don't want a scope on your gun that's got a red dot in it, don't use it.
How far away are we from getting to where people say don't use range-finding binoculars? Because I got a pair of loophole BX, BX4 HDs that I absolutely love, that I wouldn't get rid of. And the technology built into like pick any range finding optic.
We're close. We're really close to that. It's happening as we speak. I mean, you look at the three top professional leagues in fishing right now have various forms of bans, one from a complete ban to a minimal ban to a partial ban that takes a college degree to figure out how it works. Like there are the people that don't want this to happen. This goes back to your very original question about what I texted you. The folks that don't want it are there's the most of them. Okay. Yeah. They're a loud bunch. They're the squeaky wheel. And right now they haven't retired. They're about to retire, but they haven't quite retired yet. And so they still have a skin in the game, and they want it fair to them. And to be fair to them, I don't disagree with some kind of balance. I'm going to go far off the edge here, Kevin. I don't know that I feel right about having 6 live transducers on my boat. It's a little overkill, but who am I to say that's right or wrong? I think
but if it's within the scope of the rules, why not? I mean,
yes. If you want to fish with 6 transducers on your boat, you should have the right to do so. If you're going to talk about top levels of competition in the bass and walleye worlds, there needs to be a balance. There needs to be a regulation that makes it fair across the board.
Yeah.
And, that's a loose way to say that, but I really, the forward-facing sonar argument is one that's kind of got my blood boiling, but one that really makes me mad are these cell camera discussions, because if it's your own land and you're not on public, and even if you are on public, like I did the work to put it there. I took the risk of leaving my technology on a public property. Who cares?
Yeah.
Man, the whole cell cam debate, I never understood, because you're being less intrusive to wildlife. Like, so you're in there once and then you pick it up at the end of the season, unless you move it.
If it's public land and you're sharing that land with other hunters, you're doing them a favor.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Not tromping in there, checking your cards. You know what, Kevin? I think that culture has shifted this way, and it's aggravating. I think it's kind of sad that there are people, whether it's any pursuit, any life scope examples that we can, electric cars, for example, or bump stocks on semi-automatic rifles. Like we could go way down the list on things that somebody else's opinion is impacting what you and I are able to do. And
you're right.
I wish we could kind of get back to that. You asked me if I go back to the days of no technology. Like, I don't know that I'd trade it, but I do miss that simplicity of there not being a lot of arguments.
Well, I think that's what I wanted to know, is if you miss the days when you just went out and fished, like the days when you just went out in the field and sat down. Like, I mean, you and I went hunting out in Iowa, and we would just go down and we'd say, you guys know the area. Our buddy Jeremy knows the area, and he says, go over here and sit down, and you've been there quite a bit. But dude, we just went and hunted.
Yeah, we had fun.
Like, I didn't know what was in the area. We didn't look over.
But when we're there next year, Kevin, we're going to have the same level of fun. Like, it's still going to be a good time. And I think that's the personal responsibility side of it. It is what you make it. And I don't feel like I'm missing out on the experience sitting at home knowing I've got cell cameras soaking in Iowa. To me, that stokes the fire. Yeah. To me, that increases my desire to go and to make more time available. And especially when you and I get together after how many ever years it's been. Like, that's what it comes down to for me. And I guess there's no room in that get together for an argument of efficacy for cell cameras. Like, it's not even going to come up between you and I, because we both know the foundation we have will make us successful without that information.
Absolutely.
So build the foundation. And if you want to add that to your satchel of tools, have at it.
As you should. If man, don't get jealous. Don't be a little jealous person. Like, just don't. Like, if you want it, just like learn it.
Go. You know what this all comes down to, dude? Social media. Social media is the devil, and I'm on it right now. But it's like you get only the good parts of other people that they want you to think is there every day.
Yeah.
That's not the case.
Not me. I just post when I remember, and I don't remember that often.
I just post to brag.
Yeah.
I mean, really, to get down to it, it's like, hey, my son shot a deer, and
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's a whole nother podcast we can talk about. How much time do you got?
I got time. I have nothing
Dude.
going on. I got to
All
pick my
right.
daughter
Here's
up
what
at
we're going to
3.
do.
Let's keep her rolling.
All right. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to break this one. I'm going to sign off and we're going to pick it up next week and we're going to have a conversation about what is Oklahoma smoking
Oh,
and deer hunting season. So we're going to get into that on the next episode of Gun Talk Hunt. This is Thomas Allen. Like he's a superstar, folks. If you don't know him, go find him. What is your Instagram handle, my brother?
Thomas Allen 4, the number 4.
All right, go check him out.
5 of us.
Yeah, go check him out. You will love what you see, and you'll love what you read and what you see on TV. He is as genuine as they come. Thomas, thanks for joining us, man.
My pleasure as always.
All right, that is Gun Talk Hunt for this week. You folks know, hey, youth seasons are cranking up. Now more than ever, keep those muzzles pointed in a safe direction and always be on the hunt.